Well, another enjoyable episode of Smackdown on December 22nd. So, the Tribute to the Troops episode, didn't bother doing a review for that because it was Tribute to the Troops. I'm not even gonna lie, once I saw Dragon Lee get pinned by Santos in like 5 minutes again, I straight up lost all interest in that show, and I realized all the matches were like short, whatever, just there for entertainment. Everything was going by quick. It's like they weren't trying to like overdo anything. So I was like, okay, this is a nothing happening show. And then last week, I have no excuse for not reviewing that. Um, just life gets busy sometimes, and it was like an average episode. But now this episode was like back to being like good. So we're just gonna get right into it. So SmackDown starts off with a recap of last week. AJ Styles comes back, all that stuff, hits LA Knight. You guys know the deal. And then AJ Styles comes out for a promo, says he doesn't blame LA Knight for wanting Roman Reigns, doesn't blame Randy Orton, but he doesn't care because he wants him. So when LA Knight comes out, starts saying no, he's first, not Orton, not AJ Styles. And like sometimes when LA Knight does promos and he says, well, let me put it to you like this, I'm not sure if I think he's like, he doesn't know what he's going to say next and he has to say that to like just put it in there's like a bridge. But like whenever he says that, I'm like, well, why do you say, well, let me put it to you like this? But he comes out, says, no, he's first. They're not. So then he comes to the ring and then Orton comes out, pleads his case. He put me out for 18 months. So I should be getting the shot. And then LA Knight said the most confusing thing. It makes sense, but it doesn't. I know what he's trying to say, but it's like, bro. He was like, Bloodline took you out and Bloodline took you out. Like, the Bloodline made you guys fall to your feet, but they didn't make me fall to my feet. Basically saying they like put you guys out on the shelf, but they didn't put me out on the shelf. I'm like, that's not fair, bro. You got injured and then AJ got injured. Like, that's not fair. But in storyline, whatever, you can say it makes sense. So he says that. Then Nick Aldis comes out, says, oh, I know you guys are all arguing. So you know what? In 2 weeks at New Year's Revolution, we're doing a triple threat number one contender match with all three of those guys. So they announced that. And then AJ goes like, if either one of you guys interrupted my match tonight with Sokoa, then I'm going to hurt you or whatever. And then LA Knight's like, whoa. Like, I'm like, oh, AJ, you got us there. Okay. And then we have the 8-woman tag, like the holiday match that they have. Damage Control versus Bianca Belair, Shotzi, Michin, and Zelina Vega. Jeez. And it was just wacky. It was very wacky. It was literally one of those matches where it's like you could like see everybody like trying to like not figure out what's next, but like it's just a very choreographed match. It was like almost like a train wreck, but a train wreck that was like entertaining to watch. Like I was like, oh man, there's a lot of stuff that looked cringe, a lot of stuff that looked like not good, but like it was entertaining. Does that make sense? And then there's like a point in the match where Kairi Sane's outside with Shotzi, has a garbage can lid, and goes for like a spinning backhand fist with the garbage can lid. Literally, instead of hitting her with the flat side of the garbage lid, hits her with the edge right in the side of the face. And like all the commentators like, oh my gosh. I'm like, damn. And hit her hard too. Like hit like a fucking Stardom fucking spinning back fist, like, you know, laying the shit in, bro. Like, fucking hit her so hard. And then there's a point in the match where Asuka and Kairi were beating them down outside, and then there's like these two present boxes on each side of like the entrance way outside, you know, and they open the first one. Isla Dawn comes out, and like almost like a spooky music plays when Isla Dawn pops out on the first one. They're like, oh my god, it's Isla Dawn. Then they open up the other one on the other side and it's Elba Fire, and there's like this like eerie music playing for like very temporarily, and like Kairi and Asuka pretend to be scared. They're like, ah! They're like screaming. It's so corny, but it was so funny. And then like they throw Asuka against the barricade, and then they hit Kairi with this half gory special, half complete shot on the fucking like outside of the ring. Bro, killed her, bro. Like, later, I was like, damn, bro, they flattened her with that. And then going back in the ring, Bianca Belair gets hit by a KOD, and then Io Sky. I hate when timings on moves are so like long in between that it like almost like it can't help but suspend your disbelief. So Bianca hits Bayley with like the KOD, but like as like she's laying down, because like she sits down when she nails the KOD. Io Sky's supposed to come off the top rope and hit her moonsault, but like there was like a grace period where Io's like making sure Bianca's there, so it takes like extra time, and I'm like, okay, the time on this messed up. I see what you're going for, whatever, but like WWE has such great production that like they did a good enough job as they could have done, like making us like not see like the waiting in between, and like it looked as smooth as it could have went for that. And then she hits her, and then Io's like talking shit to Bianca, like, yeah, I hit you with the move, yeah. And then Michin comes out, hits her with this, like, holds her hand, drops to the ground, her foot in her face. Io sells the fuck out of it, leans on a table, like all sloppy, awesome sell. Like, I was laughing. And then Michin puts her on the table, goes up top, hits a senton, pins Io Sky, the champion, which leads to later, where they announced in 2 weeks in New Year's Revolution, Michin's getting a match based off that pin, which makes sense, you know? Makes sense. You pin the champion, you get a match. And then one of, like, 5 AJ Styles progressive match flows. Like, I swear they showed this, like, 5 times during the show. Like, they really wanted you to know why this match was happening. It showed when, like, they, when Solo Sikoa and, like, Jimmy Uso attacked them backstage, and Solo flew off like the thing and like squashed him through this stuff. They showed it like 5 times, so it's like the first time out of 5. So I'm not even gonna like talk about all 5 times they showed that, but. And then we cut to a backstage segment. Jimmy Uso's being all wacky, says some stuff. Everyone's like staring at him. Solo's just all straight face because talking to Solo, he's like, "Yeah, you gotta get hype, man." Says all this crazy shit. And then Roman and Heyman are like, "What the fuck?" And then everyone's looking at him. And then Roman Reigns asks Heyman, he's like, "Hey, who's the manager of SmackDown?" And then he's like, "My tribal chief, Nick Aldis." He's like, "Bring him to me." And then he like looks forward, all like smug and stoic, like, "Yeah, like I run the shit." And then Heyman's like, excuse me, tribal chief, actually," and then Roman's like, "Bring him to me." And Heyman's like, ooh, because Heyman knows, like, you know, this guy's not taking the same shit that Adam Pearce took, but he's like, "Yes, my tribal chief." He goes out to get Nick Aldis. So then we have the Dragon Lee Butch match, and man, what an awesome TV match. This is just one of those matches where it's like 2 great pro wrestlers that make everything look good. Like, doesn't look like anyone's thinking about anything. Looks like they're having like a real life competitive match. Everything looks good, like just solid everything. And this match was just so good, so back and forth. Highly recommend if you're gonna watch SmackDown, this being one of the matches you watch. Even the 8-man tag, even the 8-woman tag, was just so wacky and entertaining. You should just watch the whole show. The whole show is actually like good. A lot of good stuff in between. But this Dragon Lee Butch match was awesome. Dragon Lee, like with a lot of people, Dragon Lee does all of his signature moves on. They don't come out smoothly. But like with Pete Dunne's a fucking pro, you know? Like, knows how to do shit. So like everything was hitting. And I'm watching this like, yeah, everything's hitting. And then he hits the Operation Dragon, pins him. Fucking awesome match. Awesome. And then Butch is all disappointed, but whatever, shakes his hand, you know, gives him like a fucking fist bump. But yeah, whatever, fuck, I'm in a slump right now. And then we have Carmelo Hayes, Kevin Owens video package showing how both of them got to the point where they're at right now. Showed their backstage like talk segment from like 2 weeks ago, leading into their match. And then poor Kevin Owens has to sit in the ring, coming out for his entrance for 7 minutes through a commercial and through this next segment we're going to talk about in between, which is Nick Aldis actually shows up to Roman Reigns' locker room. Does not. So Heyman must have did some. So he shows up. Reigns is like, you know, like, you made this triple threat match. You made the winner of this match face me at Royal Rumble. These are good ideas. but like you didn't run them by me. And Nick Aldis is like, oh, whatever. Like, he's like, oh, like Nick Aldis like, okay, I'm not taking your shit. He's like, I forgot exactly the dialogue, but you guys should literally go watch this. But he's like, I'm an executive. I don't have feelings. The buck stops with me. I'm the sharp end of the stick. And he's like, oh yeah, so by the way, Solo, he's a big boy. As a matter of fact, he took out John Cena in like a very like convincing fashion, like something that you couldn't do. Roman's like, whatever. And then he's like, and then he's telling him everything that he did do again. But like, I can't do this segment justice. I didn't bother writing it all down. It's the holidays, guys. Didn't have time, but awesome segment. Highly recommend go watching this little segment. It's probably on YouTube, but like by the end, Nick Aldis was basically just saying, I run shit, you know. I look forward to more productive dialogue. I really want to get to know you better. Like being so smug and sarcastic, but still like saying, yo, I'm the fucking boss. And Roman's just like snarling. And then after Nick Aldis goes up to leave, Roman's in his chair like like snarling, like, oh man, like a little baby. Awesome. And then Kevin Owens and Carmelo Hayes have their match. My one complaint about this match is not the work in the ring, but man, I'm big on fucking facials. Pause. Not that kind of facial, but like, and you're watching these superstars have a match, and like you're staring at their facials, like, you know, you want to see if like they're into it, you know, if they're like a part of the match. Because if they're like selling everything, whatever, okay, it goes on to the match. But this match is going on, and I'm just seeing Carmelo Hayes' eyes like all the time, like looking like he's trying to think about what he's doing next. The whole match, like KO's doing all these things to him. He's not really selling them because he's like just looking. I'm like, what are you looking at, baby? Like eyes wide open, like looking around. I'm like, Hayes, what are you looking at, bro? Like beady eyes, like not selling anything, to the point where like I'm like, if I'm watching this with like a casual person, like they'd probably be like, what the fuck is this guy looking at? Like so many times he's like not selling anything, you know, he's laying on the ground, see him with his eyes open, like fucking looking at shit, like not selling anything, like not being in the moment, not being in the match, you know, like we're trying to watch you in a match, we're trying to feel what you're going through. This guy's just looking around, everything, looking around, like almost like no selling. I'm like, what's going on? Is this like the main roster jitters, trying to make sure you don't fuck up? Like the match looked smooth, but it looked like Carmelo Hayes was like trying to go from spot to spot, which completely took me out of the match. There's like certain things that take me out of the match, and this is what took me out of the match. A lot of people were saying banger, whatever. I just like, I don't know. Like go back and watch the match after like what I'm telling you right now, and like see if like you can see what I'm like talking about. Like beady eyes, like I was like, baby, I was just like so whatever. But then KO wins that match. They kind of protected Hayes. They hit him with the pump up power bomb. He kicks out, goes to the top, swanton bomb, picks him up, hits him with a stunner, hit him with 3 finishers. You know, try to save face, saying you can't beat this guy easily. Whatever, they did what they did. Backstage segment with AJ Styles. He's back there looking all mad, you know, like fixing his wrists like they always do, you know, even though he has no wrist tape, he just has gloves. And then Meechin and OC come up to him. Meechin hugs him like, we're so glad you're back. And then the OC's like, we haven't heard a thing from you. We didn't expect you back. Are you good? And then AJ like looks over at them. He's like, I don't know. Are we? And walks away. And they're all like, what the fuck? They're like, what did we do, baby? Like, we didn't do anything to you. And then Bobby Lashley's entrance comes out. Entrance. I'm sorry, I needed that water. And then we go to commercial, we go to commercial. We come back before the Lashley match, Karrion Kross vignette. And I like how they did this very cleverly. Of all the things they did this with Bray Wyatt back in the day, where like he like took credit for like how people were changing, like after he had a match with Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins' personality and character change. After he had the match with Daniel Bryan or whatever, his personality changed. So they're basically doing this with Karrion Kross. He was like, the power of words. The power of my words like really changed everything. He's like, I set the hourglass down in front of like the bloodline, and like told them like their time was ticking, and you saw how that played out. And like they're showing like the video of like the bloodline crumbling, and he's like trying to take credit for that. I don't know why. Like almost saying like he predicted all like the fucking demise. And then he said, I took away Drew's temperament, and now he spiraled out of control. And they're showing like how Drew is now, like went from being like a good guy, and now he's doing all this nasty stuff with the Judgment Day, whatever. And then he said, I took away Rey Mysterio's patience. He struck his own son in front of his mom. And then he said, I took away Nakamura's honor, and now look at him now. And now you're showing all the stuff Nakamura's doing now, like the creepy shit he's doing now. So Karrion Kross basically took credit for that. And he said, even though all that stuff happened, my greatest proclamation is soon to be forgotten, without a scribe and without authors. And then it's like they do like a thing where like it's like flashing from one picture to another, and it's like a shadow of AOP, Paul Ellering, and AOP on each side of them, and it looks so cool. You guys should watch this. And then Scarlett pops on. She's like, do you see the vision? And then screams, and then like as she's screaming, pictures are flashing in and out, like picture of whatever, and then a picture of like fucking AOP in the shadows. Look awesome. So AOP is gonna be coming back pretty soon. So interesting. I'm trying to think, like, when they come back, who are they gonna be squashing like the first like 2 weeks? Probably like fucking LWO. They're probably gonna be squashing. Man, like those poor tag team guys are probably gonna have to be like the first victims of AOP on SmackDown, because it looks like AOP is coming on SmackDown. And then we have Santos, Bobby Lashley. Confusing for a lot of fans. Two heels, but you wanna know what? It looks like they're kind of transitioning Street Profits and Lashley to babyface, but without saying it, because they're coming out and now they're like tagging fans' hands and shit. And like the fans don't want to boo him, so the fans are cheering him. So like Santos is like working heel. He's like working on the leg of Lashley, and Lashley's doing all these power moves, getting the crowd behind him. And there's like a fucking funny point in the match where Lashley does a belly to belly, throws him across the ring, and Santos literally says, they're like, oh my god. I was laughing so hard. He's like, oh my god, that fucking hurt. Like, awesome. And then near the end of the match, they randomly fucking cut outside a masked guy just standing in front of like the announcer table. They're like, who's this guy? Security guy comes and takes him away. They go back to the ring. They're fighting. Lashley does like a standing spine buster. They cut back out. Another masked guy flies over, does like a swanton bomb over the barricade onto the Street Profits, and now both of them are there. And then Michael Cole's like, with that move, I don't think they're like fucking fans, you know? They're wrestlers, clearly. So then that happens. Lashley's all distracted in the ring. Santos chops his bad leg, rolls him up. Look kind of sloppy, but whatever. Like, it looked sloppy to the point where I was like, fuck, you guys should do that again. But they didn't do it again. So pinned him, and that was it. He rolled out of the ring. The mask guy is like beside Santos as they're walking backwards up the entrance, and then he's like, look who I got. And then they take off the mask, and it's Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo. Finally on the main roster. Hopefully they don't have slashers on their chest from their deceased grandpa. Is that what that was? I heard that stuff on NXT. I was like, I want no part of this. I do not want to see this. And we have Pete Dunne backstage interview. As he's being interviewed, Pretty Deadly comes up singing a Christmas Carol. I forgot which one it was. I actually wanted to repeat it, but no, I literally just watched it. I forgot it. But they're like singing like a Christmas Carol, basically saying he's like fucking lonely. And then Pete Dunne starts fighting them. He's taking on them this time 2-on-1, but a bunch of goons come on. They fucking sever both them, security, fucking officials. And then all this comes like, hey, if you want to fight, you got to do it in the ring. So 2 weeks at New Year's Revolution, you can find a partner if you can to take them on. And walks away. So that was that. So everyone's like, who's this partner going to be? I'm thinking Tyler Bate, but I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone's thinking it. And then we have a Logan Paul video package with his thoughts on the tourney. And he said, I thought this tourney would lead the WWE, I thought this tourney would lead me to facing the best competition WWE has to offer. But now it's between a guy who cried over Rey Mysterio and a guy who's scared to take his shirt off in the pool. And then he says Santos isn't in his league, and KO looks like if Reddit was in real life. That's what he said. Which, if you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. No, he said KO looks like if Reddit was a person. Okay, that sounds way better. And then he said they're battling to see who's going to lose. Enjoy the temporary clout because that's the only thing you're getting from me. So, great little thing from Logan. Tops off with a nice little $1 million smile. And then they announce all the matches for 2 weeks at New Year's Revolution. That show in Vancouver, bro. I was actually gonna go to that show, but I wasn't sure it was on it. And now they announce everything for it, like now. Like this week, 2 weeks from it. So in Vancouver on New Year's Revolution, Santos versus KO in the U.S. title tournament finals, and Io versus Michin for the title because Michin pinned her, and the triple threat match, which is gonna be a banger. Randy Orton, AJ, LA Knight in the Triple H era. You know, when it's like a big main event, they usually like bring them out at like half an hour before like the end of the show. So I'm saying this would be a nice long fucking TV match, triple threat. I love multi-people matches. Triple threats and Fatal 4s are my favorite matches. And then we have like the main event, AJ Styles, Solo Sikoa, bro. AJ Styles, this fucking poor guy now has to this poor guy is like in like the Baron Corbin thing now where he has to work in jeans now. So no more tights for him. Hopefully they're like a comfy pair of jeans, but he's doing that thing in jeans. AJ Styles is such a fucking pro. Like had a great match with Solo Sikoa. Just a nice TV match. Everything looked good, you know, lots of heat. Because it's a fuck solo match. So Solo and Roman are starting to have like the exact same matches where it's like just long heat, but it's good. It's good. They had a serviceable match, and then a finish nobody likes to see. Solo rolls outside after AJ does something to him. AJ stand in the ring. Roman, like they're literally about to show a replay of what AJ did. I think he did a phenomenal forearm, and then Solo rolled out of the ring before he could pin him, and he's like, rats. So he's standing in the ring. They're about to show a replay. They have like the split screen open, but at the top where they're showing like the actual thing going on, Roman fucking comes out of nowhere, attacks AJ. So then the match ends. They're fighting. AJ fights back. Solo comes. They double team him. So then Orton comes down. Orton starts fighting. And then Jimmy Uso comes down. It's a 3v2. Who's going to save the day? LA Knight comes out in his New York Timbs. In his NYC Timbs. That's what I meant to say. NYC Timbs. He fights them off. He's like punching them back and forth. Yeah. Everyone's into it. Whatever. They run off all the heels. It kind of looked a bit sloppy. It looked like they're trying to fucking figure out what the fuck was going on as they're doing it. But whatever. Like, and then the Bloodline's backing up to the entrance. And then the three Bayfaces are in the ring. And then all of a sudden they start arguing with each other. AJ's like, I told you guys not to get involved. I'm like, bro, you were literally getting beat up, bro. You were literally getting beat up. And they saved you and you're mad about it. I'm like, I always hated that. He's like, man, I had it, man. Like, I was doing my thing. I'm like, Orton's like, bro, you're getting your ass kicked. And he's like all mad about it. And then like they're all arguing. LA Knight's arguing too. And then they start fucking fighting. And like, Jimmy and Solo are about to go back down. Like, yeah, they're fighting. Let's get back in there. But Roman's like, no. Holds them back. He's like, no, they're fighting. Let them fight. So then the show goes off with all them going back and forth on each other, fighting. And like, I was laughing so hard because Raw is 3 hours. And in 3 hours, the main event segment has been getting cut time and time again. And on this 2-hour show, Smackdown, the main event segment breathes, goes as long as it needs to. And they always end 3 minutes early. So that was SmackDown. Yeah, like it was good, but like I could say the same thing about that main event segment that I said about that whole Carmelo Hayes thing, where it's like you're trying to watch it and be in the moment, but you could actively see them also like thinking about what's going on, which almost kind of takes you out of it. But it was good. It was good. Told the story it needed to tell. Saw that episode of SmackDown. That 2 hours just flies by. You know, it just flies by. It was just a nice, solid show. Built things up. And like I was even surprised because in the Damage Control match, I thought Bayley was going to take the pin, but Bayley didn't take the pin. It was Io that took the pin. I was like, oh my god, I thought they're gonna do like another thing to blame Bayley on, but that was good too. So honestly, no complaints. It was actually really solid show. That was my quick recap of it. Can't wait to recap that New Year's Revolution show as well. So yeah, with that being said, that was my quick review. We'll get back to full reviews after the holidays. Things have been busy, buying presents, you know, all that stuff. So what can you do? It's been a long Saturday, but knocked out this review. So with that being said, this has been Eric. Toodles.